born in Mexico in 1969. Her mother and father actually lived in Arizona by this point, but Anna's mother traveled to Mexico to give birth because she did not want to have her child be drafted in the military during the Vietnam War. She, of course, didn't know her child was a girl and therefore would not have been drafted anyway. Eventually, Anna's family moved from Arizona to Waco,
they didn't
Texas.
know about ultrasounds back
Anna was
then.
described as enthusiastic, outgoing, friendly, and loud. In high school, she was voted best dressed and most popular.
Everybody should have.
Anna married at the age of 19, right after graduating from high school. The couple would go on to have 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Anna worked as a sales representative for a Coca-Cola distributor. Her husband didn't really work steadily. Anna is the one who supported them. The couple separated in 2000 and would later get divorced. Anna was granted custody of her 2 daughters. In 2001, Anna married again. The family moved to Houston, Texas in 2006. Anna made a living as a massage therapist. The marriage only lasted until 2008. At this point, Anna decided to live alone in Houston. Her daughters lived with another relative. Before Anna's second marriage failed, her behavior changed dramatically. Her emphasis was now on having fun. She regularly went to bars and clubs. She would stay out late at night. Her drinking increased substantially. Anna was arrested for DUI after driving the wrong way on a highway.
Nice.
Anna liked receiving attention from men and had sex with a number of different partners. She allowed her massage therapy license to expire in February 2009, but continued practicing. In 2010, she spent 20 days in jail for violating probation. She had been using marijuana. Eventually, Anna did not have a permanent residence. She lived with various romantic partners. She moved from place to place. Eventually, Anna found herself living with a man in an upscale 35-story condominium building called the Park Lane. In August 2012, in the lobby of the Park Lane, she met a man named Alf Stefan Anderson, who went by his middle name, Stefan, perhaps to avoid being confused with the alien Alf from the sitcom, which ran from 1986 to 1990. Stefan was born in Sweden in 1954. He moved to the United States in 1986. He was a biochemistry professor at the University of Houston. After Anna and Stefan met, he invited her out for drinks. She agreed, even though she was living with another man in the same building. They went out that same night, and within a few days, Anna was living with Stefan instead of her other lover. Anna and Stefan both appeared to have similar interests. For example, they liked going out to bars, partying, and drinking excessively.
Yeah.
This is how they spent much of their time together. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. During the early morning hours of June 9, 2013, after a night of drinking, 44-year-old Anna and 59-year-old Stefan took a cab from a bar to Stefan's condominium. Not long after entering the residence, the couple engaged in a physical altercation. Anna beat Stefan with one of her shoes. To be precise, a blue suede closed-toe pump, size 9, with a 5.5-inch stiletto heel. Anna struck Stefan at least 25 times, mostly in the head. Sometimes couples fall in love head over heels. This case illustrates why that's better than heels over head. At 3:41 a.m., Anna called 911 and said that she needed help. When officers arrived, they found Stefan on his back. Blood was everywhere around him. He was pronounced dead by paramedics shortly after they arrived. The scene was so graphic that the officers were confident that Stefan had been shot in the head. They asked Anna for the weapon. She directed them to a high-heeled shoe, which was on the floor, right next to Stefan's head.
What kind of asshole?
Here is the story that Anna told investigators. At first, the relationship with Stefan was pretty good, but then the situation changed for the worse. Stefan could not get control of his drinking. It was his Achilles heel. He was also emotionally abusive. He would call Anna all types of terrible names. He was obsessed with her. He would go into a jealous rage if he thought she was looking at another man.
When I wake up in the morning, I feel good. By the end of the evening, I'm in pain, bad pain. My neck, my back,
Oh,
my
not
legs.
that.
30 hit me like a ton of bricks. I felt like I must
30
be 60.
sucked.
I had chronic pain, brain fog, migraines, broken wrists. It was just getting worse and worse. The volume was just getting turned up on this progression of the disease.
I knew all my whole life that I had a low alkaline phosphatase level. I didn't know what that meant. If someone is experiencing symptoms that are unusual, like a lot of muscle aches, joint pain, broken bones, bad teeth, brain fog, these are all things that fall into HPP. HPP is genetic and we inherited this. This is not our fault. So if you have these kind of symptoms, don't ignore it.
Have your HPP symptoms gotten worse over time? Talk to your doctor or learn more at knowhpp.com.
No, not the HBB.
Despite all these problems in the relationship, Stefan wanted to get married. When he asked Anna to marry him, she was torn, but she turned him down, saying that he needed to stop drinking first. In early 2013, Anna took a trip to Mexico. When she was there, Stefan stayed in contact with her. He begged her to come back. He told Anna that he would stop drinking. In late spring 2013, Stefan received mental health counseling and discontinued his use of alcohol. He once again asked Anna to marry him. This time she said yes. On the night that he was killed, they had gone to a bar to celebrate their engagement. Anna noticed that Stefan was drinking again, but she didn't think too much of it. When they arrived at his condominium, Stefan accused Anna of flirting with another man.
Oh, no.
He flew into a rage. Anna had enough
Not
and
a
decided it was time
narcissistic
to
rage.
leave. She turned toward the door. Stefan said, "You're not going to leave." He stood between her and the door. She said, "Please let me leave." Stefan only became more animated and aggressive. Anna made her move for the door, but Stefan grabbed her. They wrestled. They fell over a couch. Stefan slammed Anna against the wall. He ended up on the floor on top of her, and his weight was suffocating her. She reached for her shoe and beat him to death. The police did not believe Anna's story. They found out information about Stefan's personality, which was inconsistent with Anna's narrative. According to his friends, Stefan said that he realized Anna was not suitable for him within a few weeks of her living in his residence. He wanted to end the relationship, but he didn't have the heart to kick her out. In early 2013, management at the condominium received complaints about Anna, and they spoke to Stefan about it. He kicked her out and changed the locks. Stefan paid for Anna to go on a trip to Mexico just to create some distance. He did not talk about her anymore with his friends. When she came back from Mexico, she just happened to wind up at the same bars and restaurants where Stefan spent a lot of time, as if she was stalking him. This was easy to do because Stefan had a routine. Stefan decided to be polite, as was his nature. He paid for Anna's drinks and still wanted to assist her. He let her stay at his condominium on occasion. His friends painted a picture of Stefan where he was too agreeable for his own good and could not quite remove Anna from his life entirely. Anna was charged with murder less than 24 hours after Stefan died. Before her trial, Anna gave multiple interviews to the media. She proclaimed her innocence. On March 31, 2014, Anna went to trial. Here was the prosecution's theory of what happened. After Anna and Stefan came back to the condominium, Anna became upset. She pushed Stefan onto the floor and climbed onto his chest. She then beat him to death with a stiletto heel. The defense, of course, had another theory. They said that Stefan attacked Anna and she used her shoe to defend herself because that's all she had access to.
Well,
growing up, I feel as if
I
my
don't
mom and
know.
I have
That's some remorse
bonded.
right there.
Anna was found guilty of murder. She testified on her own behalf at the sentencing phase. She decided to dig in her heels and was on the stand for 7 hours. She told the jury pretty much her entire life story. Anna maintained that she acted in self-defense and requested the minimum sentence of 5 years. The jury decided to exceed her expectations. She was sentenced to life in prison. Anna will be eligible for parole in 2043. at the age of 74. Now moving to my analysis. Was Anna actually guilty of murder? Some people believe this was a case of self-defense. Others believe that this was murder, but involved sudden passion,
It would have
which meant that
to
Anna should have been
depend
sentenced to a maximum
on
of
how
22
she
years in
is.
prison. Let's take a look at the factors both for and against the idea that Anna was guilty,
Why
starting with
would
the inculpatory evidence.
how
There
long
is no
does a
question that
man
Anna
get?
killed Stefan by beating him with her high-heeled shoe. Anna
How
claimed that
many
she was
years would a
attacked,
man
but
get?
she only sustained minimal injuries. Stefan, on the other hand, had a number of severe injuries, including to his arms and hands, as if he had tried to defend himself from an attack. Most of the blood spatter on the wall was within 2 feet of the floor, which suggests that most of the blows occurred when Stefan was on the floor. In addition, most of the blood stains on Anna's clothes were in the thigh area of her pants, which is consistent with her sitting on Stefan's chest. On the day he died, Stefan called a cab
Here,
at
let
1:30
me eat
a.m.
my
to
pussy.
pick him up from the bar where he and Anna had been drinking. The cab driver, Rosemary Gomez, said that Stefan kept her waiting as he tried to convince Anna to leave the bar with him. Anna was flirting with other men and drinking at this time. The meter on the cab was running this whole time. Stefan and Anna finally climbed into the cab. On the trip from the bar to Stefan's residence, Rosemary said that Anna used expletives directed at her. Stefan, however, was not angry or upset. He apologized to Rosemary for Anna's behavior. When the cab arrived, Anna was still using
I'm an
expletives,
asshole.
now
I'm
directed at
sorry. I'm an
Stefan.
asshole.
She yelled at him as he paid the fare. Rosemary was so upset by Anna's behavior, she offered to take Stefan somewhere else, like to keep him away from Anna. Stefan refused her generous offer, saying that he would be fine. Little did he know, but the cab driver had extended him what would have been a life-saving offer. Continuing with the inculpatory evidence, Anna was intoxicated often. She had a DUI in 2008. She was frequently kicked out of bars, and she had a reputation of being violent when intoxicated. Allegedly, she struck and bit other men. On one occasion, she used a candlestick during an attack. Moving to the exculpatory factors,
Well,
Anna may have been intoxicated when she killed Stefan, but he was intoxicated as well. Stefan had a high level of difficulty regulating his consumption of alcohol. He had been sent to a treatment facility by the university where he worked, but once again he relapsed. Stefan drank every day and was typically intoxicated before noon. He was an extremely lonely individual. He did not have other romantic prospects and had difficulty in this area. With this in mind, it makes sense that he would have been afraid to lose Anna, like he was waiting for the other shoe to drop. Anna's unusual deployment of homicidal footwear speaks to the idea that she did not plan to kill anybody. Most attacks with high heels do not result in death. Most of the danger associated with a 5.5-inch stiletto heel would be to the person wearing it, like a tripping hazard. If Anna was trying to defend herself, it makes sense that she would grab whatever she could. The blood on Anna's pants can be explained by her trying to conduct CPR after the attack. On the 911 call, it sounds like that's what she was trying to do. The blood on the walls could be explained in the same way.
Not that on the walls, Dr. Gandhi.
When considering all the evidence, do I think that Anna was guilty of murder? Yes, I think she was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I
Without
do
a
believe
doubt.
that Anna should have been
She
eligible
was a
for the
bad
sudden
girl.
passion condition and received a correspondingly lighter sentence. I think 22 years would have been fair in this situation.
Yeah, I
Moving to the
wonder
last
how
question,
many men.
what do I think actually happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Anna had gone through her life trying to play by other people's rules. During her second marriage, she decided that she wanted to live life her own way, a life without consequences. Anna had a number of unusual beliefs which assisted her in creating a fantasy. For example, she believed that she had special powers. She could make people do things with her mind because of a connection she had with the spirit world. She carried around crystals to assist her in using these magical abilities. The easiest route to Anna's new dream was using her physical attractiveness to manipulate men into giving her what she wanted. When she stumbled upon Stefan, he was immediately attracted to her. Just like Anna, his life was spiraling out of control, in part due to alcohol use. He was looking for easy ways to get rid of his pain, and Anna seemed like a good fit. Stefan and his mother had been the victim of physical abuse at the hands of his father when Stefan was young. He said that his deepest fear was becoming like his father. He had a strong commitment to never strike a woman. In addition, he was not assertive at all. He was terrified of confrontation. His friends indicated that he never stood up for himself. Stefan was married earlier in his life, but his wife divorced him. He never understood what happened, like he couldn't figure out what he did to contribute to the divorce. He was looking for new love, but Stefan was shy and awkward. What's more, he had been fired from a job in Dallas and had to take the job in Houston for less money. That's why he was in Houston when he met Anna. He was lonely because all of his friends were still in Dallas. I think all the factors from Stefan's personality came together to make him a very vulnerable target for Anna. He didn't want to lose her, he was non-assertive, and he would never fight back. Anna was aggressive, cantankerous, irritable, malicious, demanding, arrogant, and had a sense of entitlement.
Sounds like me.
When she attacked Stefan, he refused to engage in any offensive action to protect himself. He did put his hands up defensively to block the shoe, but his level of intoxication made his defense ineffective. Anna was able to beat him to death without significant resistance. Now moving to my final thoughts. This was a case where a homicidal predator who appeared to be destined to kill someone found an easy victim. All of Stefan's experiences conspired against him to put him in a fragile and vulnerable position in front of a woman who was unexpectedly lethal with a stiletto heel. Those are my thoughts in the case of Anna Trujillo. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.
A man serve for murder?
At the root of
Time served in prison, justice statistics. What is this? So, what is this? They say, what is this? They say, what is this? Murder. 14 years. $14 for a man. 12, maybe 13 years for a man to serve murder sentence. What's a typical woman murder sentence? How long women murder sentence? Are women more punished heavily? 2 years? Are they being punished more, you think? Do you think? How about that? How about them? How about them Roe v. Wade? Damn, this girl was 16 years old and killed a man in 2004. Thank God. She was given clemency because she was a victim of sex trafficking. Yeah. Let's see, the sentencing gap. Statistics of the ACLU Women's March suggest a wide gender gap sentencing. Surprise, intimate partner violence. Men in Ireland served 2.8 years less time for intimate violence. That's what this one says. What do you say? Blind girl. Prettiest woman on death row. Do females get lighter sentences? No. How often do murderers get parole? Pertaining to parole matters, the law effectively eliminated parole hearings for certain convicted murderers who have no chance of obtaining parole. For anyone convicted of murder, they may have a parole hearing no more than once every 3 years, may be denied a follow-up parole hearing for as long as 15. 6. Do attractive people get lower sentences? No. They are less likely to be processed through the criminal justice, and if they are found guilty, tend to receive lighter sentences. What makes a person less attractive? Well, dishonesty, not having a sense of humor, and sleep deprivation are what makes the most unattractive traits. Let's see the prettiest woman on death row, since they done asked. Might as well see her. Let's send her a letter. Dangerous women. This looks pretty good. You mean, was that most beautiful woman on death row? Brittany Marlowe.
One of the most heinous crimes someone could commit, killing a defenseless old man, Brittany Holberg. Killed an innocent, defenseless 80-year-old man. Brittany Marlowe Holberg was born on January 1, 1973, on Friday, March 27, 1998. Holberg was convicted of the November 13, 1996, robbery and murder of 80-year-old A.B. Torresimir in his southwest Amarillo home, and was sentenced to death by 251st State District Judge Patrick Purtle. The victim had been stabbed nearly 60 times with such weapons as a paring knife, a butcher knife, a grapefruit knife and a fork. He also suffered blunt trauma to the head from a hammer, and a foot-long lamp pole had been shoved more than 5 inches down his throat. Holberg was working as a topless dancer, and was hired by Torrey. During the trial, defense attorney
Pro
Kathleen Brown
dancing.
Dodson argued that Torrey was wrongly portrayed as an innocent elderly man, and that Holberg acted in self-defense when Torrey attacked her.
That's a
Dodson said
little.
A.B. Torrey became angry and violent when he found a crack pipe on Holberg. She told the jury that Torrey struck Holberg twice in the head with a metal pan while her back was turned, and then threatened her with a knife. Holberg reacted by stabbing him with her own knife, and the fight escalated until Holberg put the lamppost in his mouth to attempt to end the struggle. Holberg believed she would have little legal recourse because of her status as a drug-abusing prostitute, and fled to Tennessee. Testimony showed that A.B. Torrey, the victim, also had a problem with drugs. Holberg
Surprise.
filed an appeal in the Court of Criminal Appeals of Texas. But on November 29,
Oh, no.
2000, the
Not
appeals
Texas.
court upheld the decision of the trial court. In 2015, James Farron, the district attorney of Randall County, stated that due to the legal complications involving the Holberg case and the resulting legal expenses, he estimated the cost was about $400,000. And
That's
time
it?
expended, he would pursue life imprisonment without parole for future capital murder cases unless exceptional circumstances occur. Brittany Holberg is considered to be one of the most attractive women currently on death row. Thank you for watching.
Look at
Please like
me.
and subscribe.
Look at me. I was curious. I had to know. I had to know. The only woman on federal death row is Iris from killing. Let's see. Is Iris from execution. That was January 2021. Which one was she?
Lisa Montgomery is a mother of 4, a grandmother to 12, a lover of knitting, and a sister. She's also the only woman on death row, and she's set to become the first woman executed by the feds in nearly 70 years.
She was my big sister. You know, I took care of her. I loved her. I cherished her. I fed her. I clothed her. And then when the abuse started, I started protecting her.
That's Diane Mattingly, Montgomery's half-sister and one of the only witnesses to the early years of what would become Montgomery's whole childhood, being raped by her stepfather Jack and pimped out by her mother Judy.
Judy, as a mother, failed her. She told Lisa, you have to earn your keep, so you have to have sex with these men. And then the school system, I feel, failed her. Everybody there that has testified afterwards said, well, they saw something wrong.
And she's gonna get fired from her job.
Then why didn't you speak up? Why didn't you report this? The police officer that Lisa went to and said, I'm being gang raped, drove her to her house,
by a bunch of niggers,
dropped her off, and left, and never reported it. He failed her. If one of those people would have stepped up and helped her, we wouldn't be here today. You wouldn't know Lisa's name.
Mattingly, who was also abused by Montgomery's mother, was 8, and Montgomery was 4 when Child Protective Services finally removed Mattingly from the home.
I thought, they know what's going on. They're coming in. They're going to save us.
30
We're gonna be
times?
fine.
30 times.
I couldn't understand why I was being taken out of the home and Lisa was being left behind. I thought they knew about the rape. I thought they knew about the beatings. I thought they knew about the torture.
Have
that
a good
Judy
night's
was
sleep.
More than 30 years later,
I
after
hope you have
several
a good
failed
night's
search attempts
sleep.
by both sisters, Mattingly finally found Montgomery again in Missouri, specifically in a Kansas City federal court, charged with murder. But anti-death penalty critics, Montgomery's lawyers, and Mattingly all say that the years of abuse weakened Montgomery's mental state. They say that when Montgomery killed a woman named Bobby Jo Stinnett and kidnapped her unborn baby, she didn't really know what she was doing. And Montgomery's supporters say that on January 12th, when she's taken to Terre Haute Penitentiary in Indiana and cemented in U.S. history as the first woman the feds have executed since 1953, she will not have deserved to die.
What she did was horrendous. I am not discounting that. She did do a horrendous thing, but she did it in a mental break. You know, I was raped. I got out. I went into a home that gave me love. I've always said that I'm bruised. I'm bruised because you can still kind of see the things that had happened to me as a child.
wounded.
But she was broken. And that's what I want people to see. She was a broken person. Broken.
Mattingly says that when she testified in court about her sister's home life, the prosecutors didn't ask about the sexual abuse. Montgomery's then lawyer,
not.
Fred Duchart, has in his career had more defendants end up on federal death row than any other living defense lawyer. And since 2008, Montgomery's been in Federal Medical Center Carswell in Fort Worth, Texas, waiting to die.
Her counsel failed her from start to finish. It started with the inexperienced male public defender. He didn't have the experience or skill to understand the level of trauma and mental illness that Lisa had experienced in her life. She needed a woman
Probably one
on
of
her
those
team who
that's
could
in
establish a
Hallelujah.
relationship of trust to get
And
to the heart of what really happened to her in her life, which, if that had been given to a jury in a penalty phase, at least one juror would have returned a sentence of
wonder
life
if they
without
do
parole
that
instead of death, and that's all
every
it takes in the
15
federal system. We
minutes.
just need one juror.
That's Kelly Henry, who picked up Montgomery's case back in 2012. She found that despite the severity of Montgomery's crime, it wasn't the only case of matricide and baby theft. But Montgomery's sentencing was an outlier.
There are 14 other cases of similar crimes, yet Lisa Montgomery is the only person facing execution. And that's because the prosecutors in those cases understand that those women had mental illness and a trauma history, and they took that into consideration when they assessed punishment in those cases.
In December 2012, Henry brought in South Carolina social worker Jan Vogelsang to assess the history and extent of Montgomery's abuse and see if it contributed to her crime. Vogelsang spent several long days face-to-face with Montgomery in early 2013 and might know her better than anyone else.
Lisa's abuse was as extreme as I've ever seen. I can't think in 40 years of private practice and 32 of death penalty work, I can't think of another case where I've had a client who was so extremely tortured. And I compare it to soldiers and to prisoners of war whom I've treated for trauma. I would put Lisa up there in terms of the trauma with those kinds of soldiers.
In March 2013, Vogelsang sent her 184-page report back to Henry, claiming that Montgomery suffers extreme psychological harm as a result of torture, sexual violation, and captivity. But she doesn't know if anyone at the Justice Department has read it.
It is almost impossible for me right now today to wrap my head around the fact this severely psychotic and mentally ill woman will be executed. It is just impossible for me to believe that as a country, as a society, we would take the life of someone that's mentally ill. Why do you think that someone in that state of mind should be held responsible for their acts?
In recent years, multiple states have made moves to ban the execution of severely mentally ill people. In December, the Ohio General Assembly gave final approval to legislation prohibiting executions of killers who have a serious mental illness, such as schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. Yet Governor Mike DeWine has yet to sign the bill into law. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has repeatedly declined to save mentally ill people from the death penalty. And after 17 years without a federal execution, the Justice Department is in its final days on an execution spree. President Trump has already earned a grave historic achievement, killing the most prisoners in a single year since Grover Cleveland in the 1890s, and he's got 3 more state-sanctioned deaths remaining before the end of his term. President-elect Joe Biden has promised to end capital punishment at the federal level, but Inauguration Day will come too late for Montgomery.
President Trump, I am asking you, I am pleading with you to please reduce this to life. Lisa is a person that was brutalized over and over and over again in her childhood.
Oh, he didn't care.
Up into her adulthood.
He used to brutalize
I'm asking you to take
his
a
first
moment
wife.
and
And
to
look
look
what
at this
happened
and
to
to
her.
realize that she was a broken person.
She's dead now. She's dead now. Surprise.